Welcome back to Sports Talk ATL. I am Chase Earl, joined by Alex Lord. We are talking the Falcons and which rookie is going to have the biggest impact on the team, not named Bijan Robinson. And Bijan Robinson, I think we'll all be placing bets to win Rookie of the Year. He's going to have a huge impact in year one. There is no doubt about that. But which one of these guys drafted outside of the first round, which is really how you build sustainable winning organizations, is getting these guys in the second, third, fourth, fifth round to contribute. And Terry Fontenot's done a decent job of that. Now, not all these guys are going to hit. It's almost impossible to hit on a lot of these guys, but he's done a pretty good job finding some gems in the later rounds. Tyler Algier obviously stands out last year. So who is going to be the guy this year? I will start it off and say Matt Bergeron, who is the easy choice. They traded up to get him in the second round, and I just think immediately he's going to step in and be the starting left guard. I know it's going to be a competition, and knowing Arthur Smith and the way these guys operate, they're not going to hand him anything. But if you trade up to get a guy in the second round, you're expecting him to be your starting left guard on day one of week one of the season. So if that's the case and he can be an upgrade, I'm not saying it's going to be all candy and roses from the very beginning. We saw what happened with Jalen Mayfield. Hopefully this is not the same situation, but if you can get a solid left guard in there with how this was a rotating position for the team last year, that offensive line is looking as good as any in the NFL.
Yeah, those are all good points. As always, guys, thanks for listening. SportsTalkATL.com. All of these articles are on the site. Please go visit. Also, our YouTube, Sports Talk ATL. Please subscribe. If you missed any of the segments, they'll all be up on YouTube. Please like and subscribe. Yeah, I think Matthew Bergeron is the easy choice, but I'm going to be a little bit of a contrarian and say Clark Phillips, fourth round guy out of Utah. All the scouts said, if this guy was just a little bit faster or a little bit bigger, he would have been challenging for, first or second round grade. I'm going to say Clark Phillips only because we saw last year how injuries decimated the cornerback room. We had Cornell Armstrong starting games for us. That's not great. This year, Clark Phillips looks to be the first guy off the bench outside of Mike Hughes, Jeff Okudah, and AJ Terrell. And that's not even, considering we're just all assuming that's going to be the starting three. Clark Phillips could go into training camp and win that starting nickel job. So if he wins that job, I don't think it's crazy to say that he could have an impact even greater than Bijan Robinson, depending on how quickly he acclimates to the NFL, because that's a very, very explosive position. You can affect the games in so many ways. You can affect it in the pass game, rushing the passer, defending the run because you're closer to the line of scrimmage. So, Clark Phillips has been heralded for his tenacity, plays with a chip on his shoulder, and you're telling him he's not going to be a starter coming into training camp? I wouldn't count him out.
He gives me some DeMonte Casey vibes.
Yeah, he does.
Some DeMonte Casey vibes. I like Clark Phillips. I really like the pick. I mean, this is a guy who pretty much everyone said if he had a little bit better size, would have been a first-round pick, would have been one of the top corners off the board. And I love taking those guys because they're football players. They're football guys. Like, I want guys who love the game and love to play football. We see small guys play the cornerback position and have success all the time in the NFL. Like, it's not this ridiculous thing. And people all the time get knocked. Grady Jarrett for just being a tad too short. He goes all the way in the fifth round. These are the guys that know how to play football. They love the game. They eat, breathe, sleep football, and they tend to have really good careers despite the fact that they may be physically limited. So I don't think there's any doubt that Clark Phillips could come in and start from day one. And if that's the case, you're right, because as bad as the cornerback room was, and as good as the defensive line is set to be compared to where it's been in the last few years, he could be a critical piece to a defense that's rounding into form and being a lot better than we all expected.
Yeah, and with that being said, Matthew Bergeron has every opportunity to become a career starter in Atlanta. They picked him they traded up for him, just like you said. His only competition right now is Matt Hennessy. It's the left guard position has been a revolving door for years, and he has the opportunity to lock it down for the foreseeable future. But with that being said, cornerbacks will always be more valuable than a left guard.
Yeah. Well, coming up after the break, we have a great video from over the weekend. A security guard taking his job at the RBC Canadian Open a little too seriously.